Well, it seems like the drama continues. Some disturbing unfolding of events, to say the least. One of them is regards my ex, the psychopath. Um, Although I haven't gone into much detail about my experiences with her, I can tell you that since I've broken with her, it's been a good few years now. Can't tell you how many, but we'll say about 4 that I have had zero contact with her. And I've become basically her enemy. A lot of people she knew that I connected to her were either shot dead or have been imprisoned for the minimum was 10 years. The maximum was life. 3 of her associates got life for killing a 4th associate. And just today, something happened that's really just, I mean, there's nobody else in the world, I think, who made this connection. And probably the most I'm going to go into detail about her because I don't really want to reveal anything that will get me into any trouble, but this is not really anything that's going to get me any trouble. But I was doing all kinds of pattern recognition in order to figure out her story. What I mean by that is I was just trying different patterns of phone numbers, of addresses, of zip codes. In other words, I would try a zip code next to hers to see if I can find someone that lived there that maybe I had heard about. To see which I had tried phone numbers with different area codes. To give you one example, it's a simple one that I can actually articulate without giving anything away. Say she had an email address of girl100 at Hotmail, hypothetically. Well, then what I would do is not only search girl100 at Hotmail on Google to see if she'd posted anything. I would search girl100, and I would search girl100 at gmail.com, and I would search google100 at yahoo.com, and I would search google101 at hotmail.com, and I would just try all the different variations of phone numbers with parentheses in spellings. And one thing that I did hit upon, I hit upon basically everything that way, but one of the things that I hit upon, which was surprising, was I searched her phone number from years ago. I searched the next number over by adding a digit, adding 1 to the final digit, and there was a connection. That number appeared in another erotic ad that I had found her number appearing in. So I said, oh, very interesting. They're probably connected. Too much of a coincidence. So I went up the chain, and it appeared to me 5 of them were connected, purchased at the same time. But one of them did not fit. It wasn't a residence, it was a store. And I never understood that one. And I still don't understand it. Except yesterday somebody was shot at that store. So, with a machine gun. And that person was disguised exactly the same way as the assassin was disguised in the murder in which the 3 were convicted and got life in prison. So that's really, I don't really want to talk much about her because I see her still, and she's involved in an ongoing war, and she's been involved for 25 years. And I was just fortunate or unfortunate enough to happen to meet her when she had just been released from one of who knows how many stints in prison she has done. when she had to, by law, be pretty low key. And that's probably why I hadn't seen her very often over the years. I mean, she lived here with me for 25 years in this neighborhood, and I had just seen her in, you know, here and there. She would disappear for, months or years on end. Then I would see her again a couple of times, and now I understand why. So, there's a lot I can say on her, and I think I'm just going to have to write that in the book because I don't feel safe saying it online. And something else, and this is even more disheartening. I mean, this is, I thought it was all over, and maybe it is. Maybe this is just in my mind. Maybe this is me going crazy, but so something I didn't tell any of you yet. I recorded it many times, and I keep putting it off because it's so heavy. Is that I did a search. I was remembering about a month or so ago. It's been about a month now, where I was thinking about that my father once called my brother and I down in a very excited way, that he had something special for us. And by this time we were already probably 10 or 11. So my brother and I ran down very excited, thinking, yeah, there was a toy or a game or something he brought us, maybe pomegranates. We liked those very much. Something special, and basically all he had was a chocolate bar for each of us. And my brother and I looked at each other very disappointed. We were like, okay, thanks. But my father didn't seem to understand why we weren't thrilled. So now that I know my father was a pedophile, I started to think, well, that's probably how he was luring children, because that's what my mother once warned me about. The only time she ever brought up the fact that I could be abducted or molested, she had brought up that someone might offer me candy. So what I did was I did a search on Google. I did many searches, as it usually does take when you're doing this kind of investigative work. We're not really going on much except for a couple of details. And I found a photo that looked exactly like my father. And it was exactly for that purpose. And it was exactly in the neighborhood that he hangs out. And it was exactly his description of the car. And it was just looked exactly like him. And I just was completely expecting it. I swear to God, I was not even surprised anymore. So many things have happened. It seems like the world, there's a web of, I don't know what you want to call it, but I never saw this before. I never saw the wars between organized crime that basically exists all around. I mean, now that I've been following, I see people are shot dead in every city all the time. And it's always affiliated with organized crime. The cops don't investigate it because it's affiliated with organized crime, and they've accepted these people are psychopathic and are just destined to go down that way. And as long as they don't affect people like me or typical normal people, then the cops generally leave organized crime in gangs to themselves. The only reason why they arrested those 3 people for that murder that I earlier described was because they did it on a patio right in the middle of the public, and the police can't let them get away with that. And that's something that I even let my ex know, that it's really not a good idea once I discovered what she was into to get someone like me involved in any which way, because if I get into any kind of trouble, if they hurt me, the cops are going to just go crazy. It's not as if she's hurting an enemy. I'm an innocent. So, I know at first I was going to call the police and identify my father. And then I said, before I do that, I can't take it back once I've done it. Start to think about what he's done for me over the years. And I came to a few things which he had done for me that, I really can't discount. I thought, well, he's already 76 years old. Can he really hurt anybody? Not really. And I wasn't sure if it was him 100%. So I had my friend come over, who knows my parents very well. And I showed him, and my friend said right away, he says, "That's your father." He said, "It looks a little bit skinnier." He says, "But other than that," he said, "that's your father." He says, and with the car description and everything else, he goes, he thought I should call the police. So I didn't think I thought I basically put it aside. And then what happens? I mean, I hope this is just a coincidence. I'm going to let things play out. A kid was abducted, just the age my father likes, 10 years old, out of an area near where my father lives. They don't know if he was abducted. He's missing as of Monday. And, what really makes me suspicious is he was on his way to his friend's house, and his friend wasn't there. So that would be the kind of situation where someone could offer him candy because he was expecting to go somewhere, maybe to eat or to be with his friend, and then he was let down. But really what it is that the kid is a black kid. And the last time I was with my parents, and they didn't know that I was onto them, but I was. Perhaps I wasn't completely onto them, but I was listening to every word for future reference because I knew something was up. My brother had died, and my mother said something to the effect that her and my father had gone to Haiti together. My father said that he went to Haiti for a business deal of some kind. And my mother laughed in her maniacal way and chimed in and she went with him too this time. And then she laughed, and my father looked embarrassed. And he tried to distract me by bringing my attention to an eye problem I have. I didn't see it at the time, but when I replayed it later on, I was like, okay, I see exactly what's going on there. And then now that I realized that my father never really went to any of these countries, but was using it as a cover, and the fact that, I knew he didn't go to Haiti. It didn't make sense to me with my mother. They didn't have a tan. They would have discussed it beforehand. It just came out of nowhere. No, what happened was that my father had a Haitian boyfriend, I suppose, and my mother had a three-way with them because my father lives now right across the hall. So my mother to come home on crack cocaine, looking for something to extend her trip, that would just be a natural thing for someone to do. So now I see my father with my mother and a young black man. I'm assuming that was a man. And then there's this young black boy missing. And knowing my father just 3 years ago, was 2015, was likely a suspect trying to lure kids over with candy. I'm just going to wait because someone made the suggestion that maybe the kid just fell into the ice. Maybe he went to go, because into the river. There's a river around there. And, look, maybe he'll be found. But if he's not found, then I'm going to go to the police because, I didn't think my father was capable of anything like that, especially at this age. But now that some kid is missing, and I think about it, and I think about how little and frail a 10-year-old kid is, and how dominating and physically aggressive and violent my father can be, and overpowering, I'm concerned. I'm just going to leave it at that. Hope everything's doing alright. I'm doing okay. I can't wait till the winter's over. And we have about 10 days here before it's beginning to heat up and we start seeing some sun, because everyone's getting depressed, myself included. It's dismal, it's gray, it's wet. It's not very cold, but it's really not very pleasant. I'm sure that's the situation for many of you out there, so I shouldn't be complaining. But I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna hold out. And next video, in a couple of days, I think I'll have an answer to what I'm gonna do, and hopefully I have an answer to what came of that boy. Hopefully he's safe. I mean, I feel terrible for his parents. I'll tell you something, I noticed every time I read about a tragedy, I immediately go into the mind of the person who is suffering, who is left behind, like the way I was with my bro. And I guess the word is empathize or identify, or I can just feel their state of panic and trauma and shock and distress and their helplessness and their anger and at themselves, at the kid, at the world, at whoever may have done this. I mean, I have so many people I could be angry at. I could be angry at myself for not doing enough to help my brother, angry at my mother for screwing my brother with the money so he had a heart attack the next day. I can be angry at my brother for not telling me about my father being a child molester so that my mother wouldn't have been able to abuse me for decades, and I would have not understood what was going on, and I wouldn't have almost died of suicide, and my brother would still be alive. I mean, I could be angry at the social workers who, when they caught my father, didn't make sure that I was taken away. Today, I'm sure I would be taken away. A lot of people you can be angry at, especially when it's first happening. And then you realize that you can be angry at so many people that it's pointless because it doesn't make sense, right? You can't be angry at everything and everybody. Then you have a problem. Just like if you love everything and everybody all the time, that indicates a problem. Too much of anything is not a good thing. All right. I hope everything's. I'll give you an update. I don't know what I'm going to do. I hope things just play out and I don't have to get involved. But I will if I have to, because it's just weird that just a week ago I recorded a video that I didn't upload where I said, what I just said. I said, what could a man do? Really, 76. Even if he was trying to lure those kids, even if it was him, what's the point of me telling the police? Because what could he do? And then just a week later, someone that fits just his profile, and not many kids are abducted in this city. I mean, really, I read the news every day. It seems like it happens once every 5 years, maybe. I can remember maybe 5 cases in my whole lifetime. So it's an ugly coincidence, and I wouldn't want to think that. I'm beginning to I understand the way some of these serial killers work, and I think although many of them start when they're young, because they can't control themselves, it appears to me that a lot of them are starting when they're older, perhaps because they've held it back, and at this point they just see no point in not experiencing what they've always wanted to. So I don't know. Look, I hope it's a psychosis. Okay, I hope I'm just making it up. And on the topic of psychosis, I told you guys how many medications I had tried, drugs I had tried to get myself calm in order to get back into the swing of things and not always be running outside like a crazy Vietnam veteran without the ability to stand still. Well, like I said, I found those pills that I had been prescribed 3 years ago that I'd never tried, and I thought they were antipsychotics or mood stabilizers, and I'd never tried that because anything anti or stabilizing usually doesn't attract me. It sounds like I'm just going to go to sleep. Like I tried antidepressants, and they were just made me depressed, and they were just the worst. So I'm very surprised because this pill has been excellent. I feel so calm, and yet I don't feel a buzz at all. I don't feel high. I don't feel the urge to do more when it runs out because I don't really feel anything. It just kind of mellows my nerves. It's lighter than Seroquel, which is a similar feeling, but Seroquel still made me feel it was too strong. I felt very high, I felt very tired. This doesn't affect me at all. So I went back to look what it was, and it actually wasn't an antipsychotic or a mood stabilizer, and maybe that's why I appreciate it. It's actually considered a anti-epileptic, um, anticonvulsant, which it is prescribed for everything from bipolar to borderline to PTSD, so I'm not a unique case. But, you know, I have to say, I thought maybe I was borderline, and then maybe I was CPTSD, and then maybe I was thinking I've had bipolar, but now it looks like I have epilepsy. No, I'm just kidding. I'm an epileptic. Who knew? I was thinking Tourette's at one point. No, so anyways, any of you who are experiencing or who experience major anxiety or just the inability to sit still, restlessness, racing thoughts, I would highly recommend this medication. It's called, okay, I'm going to have to stand up. Hold on. Novo-Defelprox. Novo-Defelprox. They gave me 250 milligrams. Say twice a day. I only take it once a day before I go to sleep. More than enough does the job. I noticed today how patient I was. I was almost getting upset at myself. I said, "Wow, you're a different guy today." I was waiting in line and people were futzing around and going through their 6 purses. I usually can't stand that. And today I was just whistling away, and I didn't even notice I was whistling away. On other medication, I've been able to stay calm, but it's always been like I've been aware of it. And this, I just wasn't. It's like magic. So far, I'm really, really happy. I've gotten a lot done because of this stuff, and I don't have the insanity of the amphetamines. It just calms me down, which is similar to what the amphetamines did, to tell you the truth, except they had all the side effects. So highly recommended. If you're having trouble, I would have never known. So I never took it. It just didn't seem Novo-Defelprox. I'm on 250 milligrams, but I heard some people take up to 2,000 milligrams per day, which is actually 2 grams per day. Now, I don't know if you really want to call that a medication when you're taking 2 grams a day. It sounds more like, like you're taking drugs. Anyhow, look, I've said a lot. Not all of it's been beautiful, but, that's the way the world works. I'm going to say it again. I've never pitched a product in my life, but Novo Deval Prox. Divalprox. It's really sweet. I'm really feeling very, very back to my old self. So I'll let you know what goes on in all the little storylines, and a few other things have gone on, but I'll wait till the next video to tell you.